Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to build your very own customer insight mining system in N8N. This video is perfect for anybody who wants to automate their marketing workflows using customer insights from Amazon product reviews. This can be used for developing customer persona, customer journey, generating ideas and angles for content marketing and ads, keywords for SEO, and competitive positioning for your brand. This system generates a list of Amazon product reviews of your choice, stores them into a database, then generates customer insights and voice of customers around pain points, motivations to purchase, stores them in Google Docs for future reference. My name is Han. I was a management consultant and I've been helping companies automate parts of their business for the past 6 months now. And today I'm going to walk you through how to build this entire system step by step. Alright, so here's the live demo of the workflow from start to finish. The customer insight mining system consists of two separate workflows. The first is where we scrape the Amazon reviews, and then the second part is where we convert the reviews into customer insights. Right, so we first start by activating the N8N form here. We'll provide the brand product name as well as the Amazon URL, and then we will prepare the parameters that will be fed into the Amazon Scraper API, and then we scrape the Amazon reviews. And then finally, we'll then clean the reviews up and store it into Google Sheets. Then we would use those reviews that we've just extracted, randomize them so that the eventual customer insights that is generated from the AI is not skewed to a certain star rating. We would then check if the user has specified in the N8N form here on the number of reviews that they want to use. If nothing has been specified, then we'll just go ahead and use all the reviews that we've extracted here. And we then prepare the data so that we can then feed that into AI. The AI will then use that to generate customer insights here. And then finally, we will store it into Google Docs. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and run this workflow and show you how it looks like in practice. And then MX Master 3S, Amazon product review URL, which is this. And then tab URL to insert the reviews will just be our database. So you want to make sure that we're on the right tab. And then select the URL. We also want to make sure that we have shared this to the public, because if this is restricted, then N8N wouldn't be able to get access to our database. So you just want to make sure that we do that and then submit. And so the first note here is essentially extracting whatever that we need to pass into the API eventually, the Scraper API. So here we have extracted the Amazon Standard International Number, which is the product number. You can see it located here. So this is the Amazon Standard International Number, and it's usually in the URL, which is here. So you're going to extract that because we need to pass that into the Scraper API. And then we also extract the country, which is, we're just going to insert this as a fixed variable here, which is US. And then we also have brand name and product name, and this will essentially be part of the table, because we want to make sure that for each review that we insert as part of MX Master 3S, we want to know that what brand and what product. Because let's say if you're launching a new product, for example, and it's a mouse, right? And so you have like, new mouse X, which is your brand name. And so if let's say you're gonna go to your competitor products and you want to collect across a range of competitor and different products, then this is where these two columns will come in handy. In this case, it's not exactly helpful because we already know that we are only collecting reviews for MX Master 3S. But yeah, in this case, it's not exactly helpful, but we push forward. So we have brand name, product name. Okay, so we're setting constants here. And then, alright, so after we set the constants, now we're building the list of parameter set. And before I go into explaining what this code node actually does, I think it would be helpful to provide you some context on how this Amazon review scraper actually works. So as you can see here, we have a list of parameters that the Scraper API actually uses. So we have the Amazon Standard Identification Number, we have the country, and these are the two things that, as you remember, we are getting from the first node here, ASIN and country. And then after that, we have the page number, and each page essentially have 10 reviews. And so if you look here, each page, this is one page, and we have 10 reviews. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so we have 10 reviews on each page. And so essentially we say page 1, then we'll just be extracting the first page here, and then page 2, page 3, etc. And then we can also sort it by top, most recent, etc. And as you can see in the reviews page, we can also sort this here. So for example, if we say top most recent, and then this is page 1, and so if we set most recent here and page 1, this will be the list of reviews that we will essentially be getting from the API. And then after that, we also have star rating. So we can select whether it's 5-star, 4-star, etc. And then we also have positive and critical as well. And this is also consistent with this filter here. So for example, if we go to all stars, we can see 1 to 5, and then we have positive and critical as well. And then after that, we have verified purchases. I think, yeah, we can see that there's also verified purchase only. So if you click that, then you will only get like all the verified purchases. Images or videos only, which is also here. And then these are, I think we can ignore these. Yeah, we can ignore those. So these are the few parameters that we essentially be fed into the API each time we call it. So for example, if we say ASIN this US, let's just walk through an example, right? Let's say we want to use this, and then we say US, and let's say we use page 1, and then we're gonna say let's just use top reviews. So we're gonna say top reviews, and then star rating, let's just say we want to get the 1-star only reviews, 1 star. And then let's say we want verified purchases only, so verified purchases only, okay. And images or videos only, I think we can just we can keep it as false. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can run this. Okay, so you can see that we have gotten our results here. Let's just compare it with the actual Amazon reviews page and see if it's consistent. So the first is we have buy the keyboard, avoid the mouse. Yeah, this is consistent. Buy the keyboard, avoid the mouse. And then the second one is after 15 years, Logitech still can't do wireless anything. Similar. Okay, and then deceptive marketing, same. Let's just go to the last one. So we have a $99 mistake. Okay, let's see if this is consistent. Yeah, so the last one here, as you can see, a $99 mistake date after 6 months. So you can see that this API is actually very, very consistent, and it actually works really well. I think the only limitation with Amazon Scraper APIs is that it only allows you to scrape 10 pages for each star rating, and you can't go beyond that because there's a limitation of this on Amazon, and so that is also a limitation for any Amazon Scraper API. So that is how the scraper works, and because as you can see, what we've done here is we are calling each page for each star review one by one. And so what happens is if you want to automate this process, what you would have to do is to build a list of parameter sets. And so you can see here that each row here is essentially being passed into the API individually, right? So we have ASIN, country, star rating, sort by, and page, which is exactly what we did when we were going through these fields here. And so each row here will essentially give us the list of reviews for each page. So yeah, so that's what this build list of parameter set does. And I think one thing that I want to call out is also that if, let's say, there's not enough 1-star reviews, for example, in this case, let's say, let's say we only have 3 pages, right? But in our parameter set, we have set it in such a way that we are getting 10 pages. So what happens is we have a path outside here which checks for whether or not that particular page contains a review, which is this node here. So if status is okay and contains reviews, then we'll go ahead and split the reviews and store it in Google Sheets. However, if not, we will say wait, and then we'll just go to the next parameter set. So let's say, for 1 star, if we have 3 pages, you'll just go to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all empty, and then you'll just proceed to the next one, which is 2 stars. So that's how this works. So then going on to mining customer insights. So now that I have the reviews, I'm just gonna go ahead and run the second part of the workflow there. Okay, so the document name here is referring to the output customer insights document that we were gonna get from this workflow. So we're just gonna say MX master 3S customer insights, and then the product reviews URL, which is just okay. And for the number of reviews to use, we'll just keep it blank because we just want to use all of the reviews here. And if we go back, so the first node here is essentially we're just extracting from the database, and then we're checking if the reviews exist. So if it doesn't exist, we're just gonna stop an error. And if the reviews exist, we'll just randomize them, because if you look at database, imagine if we go through the parameter list, it would go from 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. But we want to make sure that it is randomized so that eventually when it's fed into the AI, we have a good mix of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. This is just to make sure that the AI doesn't produce the customer insight that is skewed to either 1 star, 5 star, because they're at the start or the end of the prompt. So once we do that, we then check if the number of reviews used is stated, which is what we've done here. In this case, we haven't stated anything. It just goes through this path here, and then it'll just edit fields. And in edit fields, what we're doing is we're extracting the relevant fields that we will need to pass into the AI. In this case, we have review ID, the review, which is the title and body. We've combined it into a single field. And then we have the rating score, review URL, and date. And after that, we aggregate all of them and then feed them into AI. And you can see here, we have essentially, we told AI to generate these things for us. So we have marketing angles, customer motivations, frictions and barriers, product opportunities, and then voice of customers. And all of these will essentially be then populated into the Google Docs, which looks something like that. So we have marketing angles, we have customer motivations. Let's just see some of the examples here. So why customers are buying, productivity enhancements, status, professional image, ergonomic comfort. Okay, I think these are pretty accurate based on my own experience. Frictions and barriers, the left click time bomb, systematic failure after 6 to 12 months. This is interesting. Software build, etc. Right? So you can see that these are really coming from the customer reviews itself. And you can also see, if I were to click inside here, you can see that these are all the reviews. So faulty left buttons, crappy warranty, great scroll, bad mouse, etc. Alright, so to start, I'll just put in the manual trigger. And to generate customer insights from Amazon reviews, if you just think about it on a high level, what we would need is, we need to scrape Amazon reviews. And we know that we'll be using Rapid API, so scrape using Rapid API, Amazon reviews, scraper. We'll probably store them into Google Sheets. And then we'll generate some kind of customer insights. Customer insights, okay. Okay, so I think the first thing that I would like to do here is to think about what the key dependency is. And in our case, I think it's pretty clear that it is this Rapid Amazon Reviews scraper. And so if this works, I think the rest would just be a lot of data plumbing. And so let's try to make that work. So we are already here at the Rapid API Amazon scraper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead to params, and let's use a certain product. Let's just say we want to use, maybe we can use this hair color. Okay, let's just use this for Dana. Okay, so this here is the ASIN. Yeah, so I need to pass in, because what I'm trying to do now is essentially trying to see if the API call would work, and if it works, how would the output actually look like. And so I'm just gonna copy the ASIN, and then country, I'll leave this as the US. I think that should be fine. Page 1, top reviews, all, verified purchase, yes, and then images of videos only, false, can leave those as false. And I just want to make sure that this essentially matches the actual reviews that will be appearing on the Amazon reviews page. So let me go to, just go here, and then I just want to make sure that the Amazon reviews rate, the settings, the page settings parameters is actually exactly the same as what we'll see from the output. Yeah, okay. So we have top reviews, correct? And page 1, we're on page 1, and then all stars. Star rating, we'll say, let's just say all. And I think this is, yeah, this should be fine. Page 0. I think we can say page 1 here. And I think this should be good. Let's just run this and see what we get. Okay, so if the first one is beginner friendly color, okay, so that's a good sign. We get the exact same review here, beginner friendly color. And then the second one is great color for glamorous waves. Great color for glamorous waves. Okay, so I think this is pretty much consistent. And then the last one is second purchase. Let me just, yep, so second purchase from this manufacturer. Yep, that's so I think the output here is pretty consistent. And so what I would do is, since we already have the settings here, I'll just go ahead and copy the curl, and then I'll call the HTTP request import curl, and then copy this over. And what I usually like to do is I like to hide my API key, because I want to make sure that, when eventually if I were to pass this workflow down to someone else, my client, etc., that they don't have access to this. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna x-rapid-api. I'm just gonna copy this into my notepad. And the value as well. Okay. So I'm just gonna delete this, and then I'm gonna go all the way up. And I know that this is a header off because here it says dash dash header, and then we have the x-rapid-api-key. So I'm just gonna go for generic credential type. So the difference between predefined and generic credential type is predefined already has, like, essentially what it means is that these apps here are already integrated with N8N. And so in a way, N8N has already kind of like set how the key and app ID would look like. For example, at Adalo, we have API key and app ID. But if we were to select something else like Airtable, for example, you will see that it looks different, because for Airtable, it only requires API key. And so this is exactly what predefined means, because these values or fields that N8N will expect you to have are all already predefined by N8N, because these apps are integrated within N8N. So in our case, I think Rapid API doesn't exist. Yep, it does not exist. So it is not actually integrated within N8N. And so in this case, what we need to use is the generic credential type. And this is essentially for any other applications that are not integrated into N8N. And so here we just want to say that is a header off and then a new credential. And so we're just going to copy the X Rapid API key and then the value. We're going to say Rapid API demo. Okay, so now that's saved. This way it makes it a lot safer when you eventually pass down your workflow, because all of these will essentially be safe within your own environment. So I think we have everything that we need here. We can leave this here. And then we'll just go ahead and say rename this node script Amazon views. So let's just test this and make sure that it actually works. Let's just say page 2. Okay, so we're getting some results back. So this is good. And so I think what we need to do next is, now that we have the Amazon reviews, I think what we would need next is to extend this into not just scraping for one page, but we need multiple pages and across multiple star ratings as well. And so I think essentially what we need to do next is to abstract all of these query parameters into into some kind of array where we store all these variables, and it will just be passed into this API one by one. So how are we going to do that? So we have async. Let me just keep these into my Apple Notes as well, just to make sure that I know all the variables that we need. So we have async, country, page sort by, and also star rating, verified purchases only. I think these can be, I think these verified purchases only and images or videos and current format, I will probably just leave this as fixed. And so the only thing that we really need to feed into this API is the star rating, because we have 1 star to 5 stars, and so that'll be different. And then sort by, I think I'll probably leave this as is as well. So I'll probably just use top reviews. I think there is also most recent, but I think in our case, we can just keep it simple and just use top reviews for all of 1 to 5 stars. And then page would be abstracted because it is dynamic. We need page 1 to page 10, for example. Okay, so we need pages. And then I think ASIN and country can also be kept here because we don't really need to change these. But I'm not sure if I can kind of like keep some within the HTTP request node and then some abstracted away. But I think let's just give it a try. And so what I would need is essentially a way, like I would probably need a code node because I need to build out an array of. So what I would need is, sorry, where is sticky note? So what I need is programs. What I need is page and star rating. I think that's essentially what we need, right? And so I would need, let's say I want to scrape, because I know that Amazon reviews limits for each star rating, it limits to 10 pages. So let's just say that from 1 to 5 stars, I want to get everything that I can get, which is 10 pages each. All right, so then what I would do is I'll probably just open up Claude and then just ask for it to write us a JavaScript code that would generate us an array of page and star ratings, page from 1 to 10, and then star rating 1 to 5. So let me just open Claude and then, like as an expert, write me a code node that would generate an array of items with 2 attributes, each page and star rating. For each star rating 1 to 5, I would need you to generate 10 pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. Let's just see if the values are, what is the values for star rating? So we have these. So I think in our case, we just take 1 to 5 stars and we'll ignore positive and critical. So I'm just gonna screenshot. I'm just gonna screenshot this. I have attached an image of how the star rating values look like. And then for pages, just an integer. For pages, just plain integers. And then let me know if you have any clarifying questions required to write the code note.
Okay, let's just see what it gives us.
Okay, let's just test if this works. Code, and then I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. So we have, for each star rating, we have page 1 to page 10, and then we have 50, which means 5 times 10, which is correct. So let's just connect this. And then how am I gonna connect this code node into this? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pass the page number here, and then also the star rating as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna limit this so that I don't consume all the API calls, because I think for this particular scraper, I think there's a limit in terms of how many I can actually. So I have 100 per month, which means I can only call 100 pages of reviews. So I don't have a lot to work with actually. So I'm just gonna limit this to maybe 5, just to see how it works. I think what I'm expecting is that it will essentially go through page 1 to page 5 of 1 stars. But let me actually make this more interesting. Let me just randomize this so that we don't just get 1 star, but maybe a variation of ratings. Okay, so let's just run this and see. Wait, where is this here? Code randomize first and then limit to 5, and then we scrape. Okay. Oops. Yeah, sorry, we need to random this. No sorting. Okay. Now it should be alright. Okay. Let's just see how this works. Okay, so now we have 5. Let me see what, so let's see what we have got, right? So we have 1 star, 4 star, 5 star, 2. Okay, so this is great. This is like a good diverse reviews that we will get. And then what did we get out of the scraper? So we have, yeah, so we have review. Okay, so I mean it is successful, so this is great. Okay, so now that we have our reviews, we can probably just store them into Google Sheets. I think we already have a spreadsheet there, so let me just append or update row, and then we're gonna choose this specific spreadsheet ID. Let me just refresh this. Google Sheet ID. Which one should I use actually? Should use this. Then document, so ID, and then sheet. Just want to make sure that we click the right one. In this case, let's use a new sheet. I'm just gonna copy everything here and then paste. Actually, I don't even need this, right? I can just say like, because now we are scraping for Vodana Professional Glam Wave, so we're just gonna say Vodana. So we're just gonna select Vodana, and then we can say we can map automatically. I think that should be fine. So let's just, and then we're gonna pin this so that it doesn't rerun. Append or update sheet, please check credential. Oh, okay, sorry, I'm just using the wrong account here. Let's scrape this. Let's just execute this again. I think this should work. Yeah. Okay, I think this is not what we want. Let's see what we have. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we'll probably need to extract all of this data out before we actually pass it into the Google Sheet. So what we want to do is we want to use a set node, right? We want to use a set node because this is how we essentially extract data out from noisy data sets. And let's just see what we want. We want the ASIN. And then maybe we can also grab the country. Actually, before that, I think what we want is yeah, I think we can just grab everything here, right? Because yeah, I think this should be fine. So what we want is everything within the reviews object. So we have review ID, title, comment, the star rating, link, maybe I don't need author ID, author URL, no need, I don't need that. Author avatar, I don't need that. And then maybe review images, review video, review date, and then is verified purchase. I think that's fine because we'll just be scraping reviews that are verified. So I think that should be fine. And then helpful vote statement. Reviewed product URL, I think that's fine as well. And then review product variant. And yeah, so I think that is fine. But I think, so what's going on here is that we have, because this parameter is essentially, because what is going on here is if we just run this, you will see that we only got, yeah, this is not quite right, because I think what this is doing is only getting the first review object out of the 5 that we have, out of the 5 reviews that we have. And so what we need to do actually before we extract the variables is to actually split them out so that we can extract each row one by one. So we need to split them out, and then we can just split out this reviews array. So if we execute this, you'll see that we have now 11 items. We have 11? Yeah, we have 11 items here. So I think what happens here is that we have, why do we only have 11 items? Does that mean that there is no 2-star, 3-star. So I think what's happening here is that we have a lot of 1 and 5-star reviews, and so there is reviews within page 3 and page 6, but for 2, 3, and 4 stars, I think we don't have reviews in page 4, page 8, and page 7. So it probably ended like before page 4. So let's just check, right? So 4 stars, if we just go here and then we say top reviews, and then 4 stars, yeah, this is fine. And then we go, so 4 stars, we tried page 4, but there isn't any reviews. So let's just see if that is actually the case. Yeah, so that's actually the case, because we can't actually go to the next page here. Usually there is like an option to click next page, but in this case we don't have, so that means there's actually only 1 page. And I think this is fair enough, because if we look here, there's only 13%, which is 4 stars, and then even lower for 3 stars and 2 stars. So I think this is correct. So we don't actually have reviews for those pages, and so we only have 11 reviews here. And so once we have split them out, we can then extract them. Yeah, so now we have 11 items, and let me just reset this. So we have review, oops, you know what, let me just delete this and then set it again. Okay, so we have review ID, review title, comment, star rating, link, author, and then we'll probably need the review images as well, just in case. Review video, review date, helpful vote statement, and then I don't think we need, okay, we can keep this. Yeah, so I think that's all we need. So now we have like a clean table of everything that we'll be inserting into the Google Sheets. Map automatically, yeah. So I'll just map automatically here, and so what happens is it will help me populate the table headers. I'm just going to do that. And so you can see now that we have all these headers in place, and we also have the data as well. So this is great. This one here is weird, because I get this customer review form and it looks like that, which is strange. You know what, let me try this again, right? Actually, yeah, let me try this again. So I'm just gonna delete everything and then rerun this. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's, I mean, it came from Amazon, so we just take as it is. Anyways, the review ID is not so important. As long as it is consistently the same from Amazon, then it should be fine, because eventually we'll just be using it to match against duplicate reviews. Okay, so now that we have everything here, I think we're pretty good, right? Like, do we need anything else? Because we are scraped using Rapid API Amazon Review Scraper, and then we store it into Google Sheets, and then now we need to generate customer insights. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the second part of this workflow, where we are gonna use whatever we have appended into the spreadsheet. So let me just use like a manual trigger. Oops, yeah, let me just remove this. And then the next thing we need is to retrieve the reviews from Google Sheets. So we're gonna get rows each sheet, connect, and then we're gonna actually get from, what is the name of this database? Amazon Reviews database, Amazon Reviews demo, and then Bodana. I don't think we need any filters here. I think this should be good. Okay, so we've extracted all 11 items, and what do we want to do next? We need to feed this into AI, so we need like a basic LLM chain node. Now, how do we pass these data into the AI? I think what we can do is we can pass everything in one shot. So what we'll do is we will aggregate them. Okay, so let's aggregate them, and then we can say just all item. Let's see how this works. Schema. So we have data 0, which is roll number, review ID, etc. And then the second item, third item. I think this is fine. I think this could work. Although I think I might want to actually, because there are some attributes here that we don't, it's not really useful to generate customer insights of. So before I do that, I'm actually gonna clean up the columns so that we only extract the things that we actually need. So I'm just gonna use a set node again. And I'm going to say that I need the title. Actually, you know what? Like, let me use review, and then we have review title, and then we have the comment or body, right? So this would be fed into the AI. It knows what the title is and what the body is, and then also maybe providing some context in terms of that this is actually referring to a star rating of 1. It doesn't need the link, it doesn't need the author, doesn't need image. I think, yeah, it doesn't really need the image. And then, yeah, I think that should be it. Actually, we don't need anything else. We can say we can set extract relevant fields, right? And then we can aggregate that. So what do we get here? Okay, so we have like a list. We have a list of reviews now, which is a combination of review, which is the title and the body, and then star rating. Okay, so this is good. And we can pass that into AI. So let's see how it looks like when passed into AI, right? Okay, so we have, and every time when you are passing in an array like that, I think a useful trick is just to use json.stringify, because the moment you do this, it will then convert it into a string, which is actually easier for AI to process. So you can, so now we have, okay, we have review title, blah blah blah. This is probably alright. Yeah, this is probably alright. And what we want to do with this basic LLM chain is, let me just use OpenAI. Yeah, we can use Mini. And what we want to do here is essentially generate customer insights. And in terms of customer insights, I think what we want to get is let's see, we can say we can get some marketing angles, some pain points, motivations to purchase, and I think we can get some voice of customers as well, which is in customers' own words what they're saying about the product. So I think we can extract these four from the AI. And the way that I'll write the prompt is I'll probably get, actually, since I'm using OpenAI, I might actually use ChatGPT to generate the prompt for me. And what I'll essentially say is, you are a customer insights, like marketing specialist or something, and I'll be feeding in this data, and I'll need you to generate me these things, right? So let me just, okay, so act as a world-class marketing specialist and, prompt engineer. I will be passing, your task is to write me a system prompt that would generate customer insights that covers, before that, let me just paste this input, and then I want these things, right? That covers these things. And yeah, I think that should be good, because eventually I don't need these in a specific JSON format, because I'll just be appending all of this into a Google Docs anyway. So I think that should be alright. I just need it in plain text, and then this is the input. So act as a world-class marketing specialist and prompt engineer. Your task is to write me a system prompt that will generate customer insights that covers these 4 things. And you will be given a list of Amazon reviews. It can range from 50 to 100 reviews, let's say, for example. Below is just a tiny subset of the actual example for your reference. Okay, let's just see what it gives me. And usually, I think a good trick to know is, if let's say you're using ChatGPT, then, if you're using OpenAI, then you want to use OpenAI to ChatGPT to generate the system prompt. Similarly, if you're using Anthropic, for example, then you want to use Claude to generate your system prompt. Similarly, with Gemini, then you want to use, with Google, then you want to use Gemini. Okay, so here is the system prompt. So you are a world-class marketing analyst and customer research specialist. Your task is to read through a batch of Amazon product reviews. And I think I'm going to remove this because I think it can vary. Some people might use more than this. But I think in general, we don't want to feed in too many. And because in this case, we are already we're already randomizing our reviews. So I think it should be good. Actually, yeah, I haven't actually randomized the reviews yet. So I'm actually going to include this note here. So we're going to get rows, and then we're actually going to randomize it before we extract the relevant views and fit it into the AI. So yeah, so I think it should be fine. I think we can use, usually I would say we can use about 50 to 100, because we're going to be randomizing the reviews, and so we'll be capturing a good range of 1-star to 5-star reviews. But it's up to you. You can use more if you like, but I think this is more efficient and consume less token as well. Okay, so 50 to 100, and extract customer insights that review how people think, feel, and decide around the product. Focus on, okay, so I think here there's a bit of ambiguity in terms of how the AI understand what marketing angle, pain points, and voice of customer it actually is. So I'll probably need to revise the original prompt, but let's just read on and see what it says. Focus on identifying patterns and themes rather than isolated anecdotes. Always ground insight in the actual voice of customer, quotes, phrase, tone, and cluster similar ideas together. Instructions: read all reviews carefully. Identify themes and patterns. Group repeated ideas under the same cluster. Extract exact customer wording where helpful. Voice of customer. Be concise, structured, action. Okay, I think this is fine. So it's actually giving me a JSON. It's actually giving me a JSON as the output, but actually what I want is just a list of marketing angles, pain points, etc. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna revise the initial prompt, because the first shot is always the most, they will always generate the best answer in terms of quality when it comes from the first prompt within a new chat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna revise this prompt from whatever that I've seen here. So 2 things, right? So first of all, I need to provide it more, I need to give it a better idea in terms of what I mean by each of these things. So marketing angle meaning to inform maybe static ads, to inform static or video ads, static video ads or landing pages for a specific product. And then pain point would just be pain point of using the specific product. And then motivations to purchase, I think similar to this, except it is, oops, can't copy this, purchase. And then voice of customer is just in customers' own words to be written into ads for high resonance. And then another thing that I want to add is I want to say that the output should just be a list of bullet points under each of the customer insight. The output would be added into a Google Docs directly. So format it accordingly. So as you can see, you can always kind of like go back and forth with the original prompt based on what you see, so that you get exactly what you want, right? So you can just go ahead and read this again. So you are an expert marketing analyst and customer research assistant. Oh yeah, I forgot to fix this, but I think I'll just remove this later when I add it into N8N. Each review object contains fields like review body, title, review star rating. Your job is to extract clear marketing ready insights into 4 categories. Output rules: use bullet points only under each heading. No long paragraphs. Use bullet points only under each, okay? Write in plain, concise, marketing usable language. Preserve authentic customer voice where relevant. Avoid repetition, no introduction or explanation. Output must be formatted cleanly, okay? And then we have, okay, this is a good output format. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this. I think this is fine. And then I'm just gonna add this into the system prompt here. Remove this, yeah. And then remove this as well. And then this is the input, right? So yeah, okay, I think this should be fine. And then I'll say like customer insight LLM or agent. Let's just call it an agent. Technically it's not an agent, but we'll just call it an agent in this case. Okay, so we're just gonna run this and see how it works. If all good here, we can actually just go ahead and put this into our Google Docs, but let's see. Okay, so what do we have here? Let me just put this into ChatGPT. Make this readable. Okay, so marketing angles, we have fast heating. And bear in mind that the product that we are generating customer insights for is this curling iron, which is to curl your hair. So okay, it's fast heating, beginner friendly, natural curls and waves. I think these are all pretty relevant. Pain points are limited compatibility, doesn't work in some regions. Okay, cord design, lacks convenient features like a Velcro wrap. Price point is high. Okay, that makes sense because I think it's quite an expensive product actually. And then international purchases may incur extra taxes or import fees. Okay, and these are all coming from the reviews. Let's just make sure that it's coming from the reviews because we don't want it to hallucinate and stuff like that, right? So can I, yep, let me just pull this across. Okay, so title here says not for US or Canada, cannot use, disappointed and got taxed. Okay, so as you can see, this is where it's kind of like generating the pain points from. And this is also like review 1 star as well. This not for US or Canada directly goes into limited compatibility in terms of geographical region. And then we also have price point, which is this, and getting taxed as well. Yeah, this one here, international purchases. All of these insights are actually grounded based on the reviews and not just the AI going about generating like random pain points. Motivations to purchase. So quick damage-free hairstyling with consistent results. Reliable tool that heats fast and works on multiple hair types. Desire for high-quality durables. Okay. Let's just see if this is true. Okay, so what you need, 5 star. Found this product because of a K-drama. It curls your hair so fast. Okay, so fast here means it curls. It's like fast heating and stuff like that, right? And easy, and you haven't damaged my hair at all. Must buy. The smart and easy, make my hair look good. Best curling iron ever. Okay, yeah, this is also talking about like the incompatibility in terms of geographical region. Yeah, I think this is pretty consistent so far. And it curls your hair so fast and easy. Let's just copy this directly and see if must. I think we've seen this, right? Must buy. Oops. I think yeah, must buy. And then best curling iron I've ever used. Yep, okay. And then I do not need to use any product to hold my curls, and this style lasts for a day. Yep, I don't need to use any product. This okay, consistent. So this is pretty good. I think this is okay. And what we'll do next is we can then add this into our Google Docs. We can say that we can just get a document. Usually what I'd like to do is just create a document. Or actually, you know what, if you want to automate this, then maybe you should create a document. So let's just create. And then we can create document, select the folder. I'm just going to select this folder here. So I'm just going to get the ID. Oops. I think I need an expression for this. Make this a string, okay. And then title would just be, I think usually we can kind of like dynamically set the title based on this. We can set like an N8N form here, but I think for now we can just like, maybe we can just put a random title, right? Like Vodana Customer Insights. Okay, and then we can another Google Docs to then add our results into it. ID and then text from the LLM chain. I think this should be good. Let's try. So we're gonna pin this so that it doesn't rerun. Create, update. Okay, let's see if we get it. Yep, so we have it here. Alright, so there we have it. Marketing angles, pain points, motivations to purchase, voice of customer, exactly as what we have seen from the output of the AI. Okay, so I think what we have here is pretty good. But what I want to do next is to make this like properly automated, because what you see here now is still quite like we still need to manually come in and run this workflow, because for example here we are actually fixing the title of the document, and yeah, we are also not really specifying how many reviews that we want to use. Like we're not providing the users a way to do these things, and so that means if we're providing this to a client, they wouldn't know how to kind of like limit the reviews and stuff like that. And so in this case, what we want to do is to actually remove this manual trigger, and we're going to use an N8N form. And what we want to input here is a couple of things, right? So let me just copy this sticky note. Input. So the first thing we will need is the number of reviews to use. And then we would need the document name. What else do we need? I think that should be all, right? Number of reviews to use. Oh yeah, and also because here normally we have multiple tabs, and so if let's say that the client wants to extract maybe not Vodana but something else, we want to provide an option to do that as well, so that we can dynamically set what sheet we're using here. And so what we'll do is we'll probably pass in a URL so that the user can just go here, copy the URL, put it into the input form, and then the URL would automatically appear in this field right here. Okay, let's do that. So we'll change this to URL, and then we would change this later, but I think for now let's just URL of input form. Sorry, not input form, but URL of Amazon of database tab. Okay, let's just set, right? So form title would be customer insights generator, and then we can add the form element. So the first thing that we want is let's just put document name first. So insights, maybe just document name, text required, and then we have number of reviews to use. We can do this as number required, maybe let's just say like 20, and then here we can say placeholder as example, like maybe like a customer, like a Vodana customer insight, something like that, just to give the user an idea of what do we mean by document name. And then finally we want to add the URL of the database, and so this needs to be a URL, but since we don't have a URL data type here, so we'll just use text and then the reviews database tab URL, and then we can just copy this as an example, required as well. Okay, so now that we have that, then I think what we can do is we can just execute, and then just do a test, right? So we'll say like 10, and I think what we want to do is also to not set number of reviews as compulsory, so that if the user sets a number, then we will use that number, but if they don't set it, then we'll just use everything in the database. So we just remove this as required, save it, and then let me run it again. So tests, and then we'll leave it blank, or maybe just put 10 for now, and then we'll use this, and we just want to make sure that we share this. Yeah, it's already shared, so that's fine. So we'll just copy this URL, and then we'll put this here, submit. Okay, yeah, this is good. So we have this runs smoothly now, but I think we want this to be, because this is fixed now, so we just want to make sure that this is set based on the URL that we provided. Okay, and then let me just rename this as well. So get Amazon reviews, and then here we're gonna randomize, extract relevant views, aggregate, customer insight agent, create document, create customer insight document, and then add customer, insert customer insight. So usually I like to make it a habit to name my notes, so that it is easier the next time when I come back, I know exactly what is going on. And also, if you're building this for a client, you want to make sure that you do this as well, so that it makes it a lot more intuitive for them when they eventually go into the workflow and try to understand what is going on. So once you have set this, I think we still need to go, we have already made this dynamic, but I think there's still a few things that we need to do. So here, this folder name is fine. So in this case, we want to set this folder ID to be fixed into this like demo folder in our case. So I'm not gonna make this dynamic. I'm just gonna put this ID as fixed, right? I'm not gonna put this in N8N form. But what I need to make dynamic is the number of reviews and also the reviews database tab. Yeah, so number of reviews. Alright, so I need to now fix the name of the document. So this title, I want to change it to this document name. And I want to make sure that I put this as first, not item. Once I've done that, now I will need to actually only extract the number of reviews that has been provided. So let's say, how do I set that? Can I add filter? No, I can't add filter. So I think what I need to do is actually, I can't remember how can I set to how many reviews that I want to get. I think one way is to just limit the number of reviews. So let's say I can just retrieve everything, randomize it, and then I can add a limit node, which will then limit based on whatever that I provided in the form, right? I think I'll do that. So here I'm gonna say number of reviews to use is 10. So we're only gonna use 10, right? Let's just make sure that it actually works. Yep, so you can see that here it says 10 items, so this is correct. That's working fine. But what if, let's say that the user doesn't actually provide number of reviews? So I think what we want to do is we want to make sure that we put a condition for that. So if the user provides, we limit. If not, we'll just go ahead and extract. Okay. So if, and then we'll say number of reviews to use. And I want to see what is the value like. Is it null or is it going to be like something else when I use the form submission and I don't provide anything, right? So let's say I test, and then let's just say I provide this again. So you can see that it's actually 0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna control for 0. So I'm gonna say if the number of reviews to use is equal to 0 in terms of number. So number is equal to 0. So if not if yeah, maybe I'll just remove this as well. So if no review, number of reviews not set, if number of reviews not set, then I'll just go ahead and do this. Otherwise, I'll do this. If number of reviews not set, go ahead and extract, and if not, go ahead and limit it and then extract. Okay, this looks correct. So let's just see if it kind of like runs correctly, right? Yeah. So we can see that now it uses the true path, which is strange because, yeah, because the number of reviews is not set. So it just goes ahead and extract the relevant fields. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, so now that we have everything here, I think this is pretty good, right? I think this is in a good state. Is there anything else that we need to do here? Yeah, so we have scrape using Rapid API Amazon reviews. We have stored them into Google Sheets, and then we also generate customer insights. But I think another thing that I would also add is allow users a way to actually create new tabs here, right? Because now we're kind of like hard coding this to Vodana. But what if let's say they have a new product? And so what we want to do is actually anything that requires user input as part of the workflow, usually we'll just use the N8N form. So we just copy this, then we'll fit this in here as well. And then in terms of the variables that we actually need to use is probably, I don't think we need this, like this is fine, because we'll be scraping them the same way. And I don't think we need the randomize here as well, because yeah, we'll just be scraping them all anyways. This limit node, yeah, just keep it as 5 again. And then we're just gonna remove this pin. Split out is fine, edit fields is the same. Yeah, so I think what we need to make dynamic is just this Google Sheet node here. We wanna make this field dynamic so that actually no. We wanna do that, but we also wanna make this scrape Amazon reviews node dynamic as well. Because depending on what kind of product that we want to scrape, we want to make sure that the users can adjust that based on their need, and then that will be reflected in this node. Okay, so in terms of what we need to make dynamic for the first workflow is the Google Sheet tab name, and then the ASIN, which is the Amazon Standard Identification Number, and then we would also need, I think country should be fine, page should be fine, because those are all done by the code node. Sort by should be fine as well. Star rating, yeah, so I think pretty much just this field right here. Okay, so I think these are the two things that we need. So let's go ahead and put that, right? So the title would just be Amazon Scraper. And then field name, the first one is we need the ASIN. That will be just text. And I'm just going to use this as an example. And then the second thing that we need is the sheet name. Or maybe what I will use is probably just use a URL, the same way that we did for the second workflow. And so I'm just going to use this as an example. And then we're going to say text again. And then review tab URL, right? So basically, if let's say the user wants to put this into a new tab, they can just create and then just copy this link over. And that should then insert all the scrape reviews into this particular tab. So that should be fine. So yeah, I think these are the only two fields that we need. And again, let me just activate Amazon Scraper. Okay, let me just run that workflow. Run. let's say we want to scrape for something different, right? Let's go to Amazon. What should we scrape? Okay. What is interesting? Okay, let's just say we want to get this, right. So this is a basic adjustable boom arm. Okay. So let's rename this type as adjustable boom arm, and then we're gonna copy this, and then we want to get the asyn as well. Okay, submit. It's not gonna work because I haven't actually adjusted the node, but I'm just gonna run it and see, like, to, to let the workflow kind of like provide me feedback in terms of what is working and what is not. Okay, I think this is where it is kind of like there's a logic error here, because what it's doing is it is still inserting the boom arms review into the Vodana tab. So that's not correct. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to remove, because just now we generated, I think, 11 reviews, right? So yeah, so as you can see, I should have included like the asyn column here as well, so that I can easily see which one belongs to Vodana and which one belongs to boom arm. But you know what? In this case, let me just. It seems like it didn't actually include the reviews here, surprisingly. So what I will do is actually it exploded. Okay, I see what's happening here. So basically, it actually went ahead and still scraped for Vodana's. It still went ahead and scraped Vodana reviews because we have not changed this here. So let me do that. Let me just change this here and then remove this. So now we're making this dynamic. And then we will also need to change the spreadsheet URL here as well. So we're gonna say not from list, but by URL. And then we're gonna change this to our tab. Is correct? Yeah, this is correct. But document ID is still not correct, right? Because sheet by URL. Yeah, let me say, okay, we want to use this, and then URL comes from this. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, I think now this should work. And let me just rename this as also insert Amazon reviews. And then we can, this is essentially we're building the parameter set. And then we're limiting it. Script Amazon reviews split out. And here we are essentially extract Amazon review fields. Okay, I think now this should be good. Let me just rerun this. So async, and then URL. Oops, what's going on here? Sheet parameter value is invalid. That's strange. What's going on here? What's going on here? Error. Sheet parameters value is invalid. This is likely because the URL entered is incorrect. Extract value. Okay. Let me just try that again. Oh, okay, automatically. Because here we don't actually have headers, so we need to use automatically instead. And let me just reinsert this URL. Oh, why is it? Okay, yeah, this is not correct because this is Amazon.com. It should be Google Sheets, so I think I made an error there. Let me just retry it. So what I would do is I don't want to recall this. So I'm just gonna pin that, unpin this, and then I'm gonna call this again. So what this does is it will just run the workflow with the new reviews tab, but the reviews will still be the same from the previous scrape results. So this way I can save on having to keep calling my scraper. Yeah, so now we have the proper Google Docs link, but it's still not correct. Oh, okay, because we removed it. Okay, so let me just put that back. I think now it should work. I'll just pin this. Okay, yeah, now it works. So we have 50 items. Let's just check. Okay, so so as you can see now, adjustable boom arm. We have 50 items here as well. Let me just bold this. And let me just expand this as well. So you can see do not buy, avoid, don't buy. Stand is not threaded. It folds up into a nice small package, etc. Yeah, so you can see like it has been successfully scraped. And now it is also dynamic because we have the users can now essentially choose whatever product that they want and then also choose which tab that they want to input the reviews in as well. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I think this should be pretty good actually. Yeah, so let me just clean this and then remove these as well. And there you have it, entire customer insight mining system that will save you hours from manually combing through and analyzing Amazon reviews. This is extremely powerful because with this database, you can refresh it every quarter or so, then just use the database in whatever use case that you need, like customer persona development, generating ideas and angles, SEOs, keywords, competitive positioning, etc. If you guys run into any issues or you want to share your results, feel free to drop them down below. I'd love to hear how the system works for you, how you're using it, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them down below. I'll make sure to respond to them as well. And for those of you who are serious in building AI automations like this one, make sure to subscribe to my channel as I'll be releasing more Build With Me videos like this one. And check out Next Gen AI Build Club. That is my own fast-growing free school community where entrepreneurs and builders are scaling their businesses with the help of AI. Thanks for watching. Peace.